Real quick before we begin the video, spoilers for these shows, major spoilers. Despite what I'm about to say, you should definitely go see them because they are good in their own rights, even if they've kind of dropped the ball once or twice, or 17 times. So don't let my opinion ruin this experience for you, alright? Cool, moving on. Do you know how Disney hates moms?
Mother!
Well, it seemed like for a while, certain sequels hated dads. But not only dads, protagonists. Now, you know what I'm talking about. The first Legend of Korra implying that Aang was a neglectful parent, then Boruto straight up showing Naruto being a terrible parent, and finally Harry Potter and the Cursed Script showing Harry practically disowning his own son. Now, it's no secret that some of these sequels aren't exactly beloved. Lots of video essays show in great detail why that is, but beyond that, these three have something in common, even beyond former protagonists being terrible parents. The way they act in the sequel series is practically the antithesis of their entire characters.
How dare you stand where he stood?
Now let me break it down. Aang is a completely friendly, outgoing person as indicated in the original series. He doesn't hesitate to show his friends his heritage, friends that he's only known for a couple of days at most. He tells them about Airball, Monk Gyatso, and even the story about running away from home. Eventually. You can even see how he's supposedly the same character years later when we see a picture of him spinning those marbles that he was so proud of in Season 1.
Now, check this out.
However, apparently once Tenzin, his third child, was born, he started neglecting his other children, Bumi and Kaya, due to their inability to airbend.
Reminds me of all those great vacations we took as kids with Dad.
Boomy and I weren't on those great vacations. It was always just you and Dad.
We're Aang's kids too. I wish I could be as good a father as Dad was to us.
Tenzin, your problem is you're exactly like Dad. He was so focused on saving the world and doing his duty, don't laugh, that he never had time for us.
Why are we even talking about this?
Because you seem to have some grandiose delusion that we had a perfect, happy-go-lucky childhood. Guess what? We didn't. Classic Airbender technique. Cutting and running when things get tough.
Yeah, did Dad teach you that move?
Which is pretty ironic due to his creation of Republic City, a place renowned the world over for its inclusivity. Maybe this was intentional, but little things like the only season of Korra with a behind the scenes being Season 3 makes me think that someone just didn't care until they had to. Which is painfully obvious when you change from Season 2 to Season 3. Now, if you want to defend this and say that it's perfectly normal that Aang would neglect his other children in favor of one, it's true that he would be very excited to have an Airbender kid, especially considering the genocide of his people.
You two have no idea how it feels to have the future of an entire culture on your shoulders.
But let's just remember that he's married to Katara at this point in the series, and Katara isn't really one to just look the other way when something is out of line. It's not like she has any second thoughts about correcting Aang in the original series.
Well, Stop rubbing your eye and speak clearly when you talk. Aang, stop it.
Like, the conversation wouldn't just go, "Oh, hey, Aang." "Oh, hey." Dude, so I've been thinking, and you know how we have a new Airbender kid?
Yeah?
And we also have, like, 2 losers at home? Well, I've been thinking, I've been vibing, I've been off my head recently. And I was like, what if we took mini vacations? Like, what? But this time, none of you guys went, except for me and Tenzin there. Say hi, Tenzin. "Hello, mother." What do you think? You know, if you wanted a divorce, you could have just asked me. Now we can move on to Boruto, the bastard love child of Gotham's writing and J.K. Rowling's Twitter feed. Naruto, like Aang, was a super outgoing, friendly character, but there was something deeply integral to his character, something that he strives toward due to being an orphan. He desperately wants a family, though most of this want is conveyed through subtext, like sitting alone in a swing in several flashbacks, giving Naruto and Jiraiya a father-son relationship, and reminding Tsunade of her deceased younger brother. This character would be the last one to avoid his children, but once he's the Hokage, which is basically ninja president, he suddenly can't find the time for his kids. They try to say that it's because his job is so demanding.
Being Hokage is a difficult job.
But I think there's a special word for that explanation.
S-H-I-T.
Now, let me explain why. The first problem is that he acts like it takes up all of his time and he's always tired, but let's remember a few things. At this time in the series, they're in an era of extreme peace to a point where a bunch of the younger ninjas are having existential crises because they don't know why they're necessary. Because they aren't. That's a problem, because the Hokage's main job is to protect the village, which, at the current point in time, rarely needs protecting. But that's also a problem of lacking character motivation, which can lead to reactive rather than proactive characters. But that's a video for another day. The second problem is that this man can literally create thousands of clones of himself. Meanwhile, there were several Hokages who managed the job during times of war without that ability, and depending on which one you look at, they did all that while being drunk or horny the whole time. The third and final problem is that several of Naruto's underlings offer to take responsibility and help out with a lot of his work. This should give him an easy out, especially for things as simple as a birthday party, which you would only need to be there for, say, a couple of hours. Hey, do you think maybe you should head over there? The party starts in like an hour.
Thanks, guys.
But Boruto has to be justified in his prepubescent angst, so Naruto's a straight up asshole. But Mr. Worse, I hear you ask.
Becoming Hokage was Naruto's lifelong dream. Of course he would give up his family for his job.
Wrong, bitch. Yeah, becoming Hokage was always Naruto's lifelong dream, but it was also a means to an end. He didn't just want to become Hokage because I want to become Ninja President because the Ninja President is powerful and he also has really big dick energy. Believe it. Although it is Naruto, so it might be a little bit of that. Naruto just wanted to be Hokage so that the people in his village would respect him, considering how the average villager would call him a demon child and chastise him like all the time.
Huh?
And considering how everyone already respects him, you know, since he's saved the world several times by now, it makes no sense that he would do something to endanger the respect that he has from literally the most important people in his life. Okay, now I won't try to parody the conversation they probably had because, hot take, Hinata is a pushover when it comes to Naruto, and frankly he could tell her that he was going to sacrifice their children to a blood god named Fred, and she'd be like, just let me know if they attack you because I seem to have a thing for getting hit in the face for you to realize your beliefs, and then he'd be like, believe it! Finally, we have Harry Potter and the Forgotten fanfic. Now this section's gonna be a little bit longer because the plot of this book is just, even if you've read it, you're gonna have to have it explained to you again because...
I got square brain.
So this was literally written by two randos who seem to have a very thin connection to the original author, so I, like many others, do not see the Cursed Child as canon despite whatever lies your fever dream is telling you. Okay, moving on. The script starts off with Harry and his son at King's Cross Station. Albus, did his mother get to name one damn kid Potter?
Daddy has some issues.
Is going to Hogwarts for the first time, becomes a Slytherin, and becomes best friends with Draco's son Scorpius, so his father is naturally being a real dick about it, in 3 years' time. Basically, Albus sucks as a wizard. He's getting terrible grades, he plays Quidditch like Harry Potter from the Wii game.
Is he flying backwards?
Oh, through the hoop, let's do this. Ow.
So, as a result, he gets bullied for it. A lot. Which of course means he starts talking to his dad like, Hogwarts sucks. Maybe it would suck less if you weren't such a pussy. But I'm getting bullied like all the time. Well, I don't get where you're coming from because I've never been bullied. So anyways, here's this baby blanket that I probably peed on when I was little. Okay, I'm so gonna kill you with time travel shenanigans. So there's this time turner thing that Albus gets his hands on with the help of this totally not evil lady, and they decide to go back in time and save Cedric Diggory, all because his dad waited 20 years to be sad about his death and was like,
Hey, so you remember how my son died and it was a bit of a downer? You should fix that.
I don't like to say no, but nah, bro.
Well, I hope you die from time travel shenanigans.
So they save Cedric Diggory, then he turns evil because getting fat turns him into a magical Nazi, and Harry dies because of time travel shenanigans. What? So now Albus doesn't exist, so his best friend Scorpius does more time travel shenanigans and fixes everything. So after that, some other garbage happens with the totally not evil lady. She turns out to be evil and also Voldemort's daughter. Then everybody reading goes, oh my god, never saw it coming, so crazy. So more time travel shenanigans happen because Voldemort's daughter really wants to help kill Harry when he's a baby, so they're stuck in the past now. Then Albus pulls a looper on Harry's pee blanket and all the adults go back in time to help and the day is saved. Then the book ends with Harry apologizing for being a bad father and Albus literally saying, "Dad, you don't have to," which may be the biggest crock of bull in that whole story. Now, what did we learn? Okay, so let's explore the reasoning behind making so many of these characters into bad parents.
Hey Gary, you got that script for me yet?
Yes. But to dig a little deeper, we should look around at other popular media and see where the idea of the incompetent dad is most used. After combing through a few TV shows and movies, it seems like the most popular genre to use the incompetent dad trope are sitcoms like The Simpsons, Family Guy, and That 70s Show. Immediately, these shows display parents that aren't that great, but they aren't terrible enough to be a villain. In fact, in 2 of these shows, these characters are the protagonist. The difference is that in a sitcom, the parent's incompetence is played for comedy, while in these shows and books, it's played for drama.
You little... I'm the victim here!
But the reason that it's played for drama is comparatively really shallow. 1, to drive the plot, so that the new main character can angstily run away after an argument and be like, "You don't get me, nobody gets me."
This isn't the lame era you grew up in, Dad!
Hey, Boruto, wait!
Then they bump into the plot because the writers are allergic to proactive characters for some reason. 2, to make the main characters seem much better than they are by comparison.
Still think I'm a half-baked avatar?
The problem is, if you make the previous main character unlikable by comparison, you start to wonder if the original series was even good to begin with. That, in my opinion, is the biggest problem that any sequel may have, and it's probably a large contributor to why a lot of people don't really like the Star Wars prequels. 3, because it's relatable. Everybody has disagreements with their parents. That's why parents just not getting their children is a huge trope and is used pretty well in movies like The Breakfast Club and The Dead Poets Society. However, the reasons that the trope works so well in those movies are reasons that would completely unravel the plot of The Cursed Child, Boruto, and Korra. We don't know the parents that well, aside from how they treat the main cast, which lets us focus on the impact of the parents' actions on the psyche of their kids, instead of wondering why they're acting so out of character. Speaking of character, the parents also don't have extremely childish personalities, which makes the strict/abusive parent trope a given, and it also makes more sense that the parent wouldn't empathize with them.
It's about the size of a cigar. Do I stutter?
Actually, if we were to focus on Naruto or Aang, it would make more sense for them to continue acting like children, making them more like friends with their kids. Sure, that might seem like fun, but it would mean a lack of structure in the new main character's life, and carry its own type of drama regarding parents that surprisingly isn't covered that often. That would stay closer in line with the parent's character while keeping a similar type of conflict already present in these stories. Now, I'm not saying that the writers are incompetent, I'm just saying that I'm not the first idiot on the internet to take a stab at fixing these character arcs. Now, jokes aside, we can't place all the blame on the writers, or even the original creators. Lots of fans have this idea in their heads that, because they own some merch, that they somehow have a say in the creative endeavors of the author, and that's simply not true, and it leads to a lot of frankly asinine behavior in a lot of fandoms, to the point where a lot of actors have been bullied off of social media platforms or even had to seek psychiatric help. However, being a creator means that you're gonna receive criticism, especially if you take your series in a completely different direction that people weren't expecting. Sure, a lot of it's gonna be unfounded and frankly straight up mean, but avoiding all criticism is a great way to keep yourself from growing, not only as a creative professional, but as a person. And I hope that I can remember that when I've made it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.